June 6, 1944, D-Day, is remembered as one of the most daring and decisive military operations in history. The successful Allied invasion of Normandy marked the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany. But what if it had failed? What if the beaches of Normandy had remained firmly in German hands and the Allies had been forced to retreat? Exploring this counterfactual scenario reveals how critical D-Day was and the potential consequences for World War II and the world. The stakes of D-Day. The Allied invasion of Normandy was designed to establish a Western front against Nazi Germany, relieving pressure on the Soviet Union in the east and hastening Germany's defeat. The operation involved meticulous planning, massive resources, and the coordination of thousands of troops from the US, Britain, Canada, and other Allied nations. A failure on D-Day would have meant the loss of thousands of Allied soldiers, a severe blow to Allied morale, a prolonged war with uncertain outcomes. Why could D-Day have failed? Several factors made D-Day incredibly risky. Strong German defenses along the Atlantic Wall, unpredictable weather conditions, the complexity of coordinating air, land, and sea forces, the possibility of intelligence failures or stronger German resistance than expected. Had any of these factors swung against the Allies, the landing could have turned into a disastrous rout. Immediate consequences of a failed invasion. If the Allies had failed to secure a foothold, massive Allied casualties and loss of equipment. The loss of thousands of troops and expensive equipment would have been a devastating setback, delaying further invasion plans. Boost to German morale and strengthening of defenses. A decisive victory for Germany on D-Day would have boosted Nazi morale and potentially allowed them to redeploy forces from the west to other fronts. Strain on Allied unity. The failure could have caused tensions among the Allies, undermining cooperation and potentially weakening the coalition. Impact on the Eastern Front. A failed D-Day would have forced the Soviet Union to continue bearing the brunt of fighting Germany alone on the Eastern Front. The Soviets were already pushing hard but suffered massive casualties. Without a Western Front, the war in Europe could have dragged on for years. The Soviet Union might have pushed deeper into Europe, changing post-war borders drastically. The possibility of a negotiated peace with Germany, favorable to the Nazis, might have increased. The war in the Pacific. A prolonged European war would have had ripple effects on the Pacific. The US might have diverted more resources to Europe, slowing the campaign against Japan. This could have prolonged the war in the Pacific or even changed the timing and nature of the atomic bombings. Long-term geopolitical consequences. A delayed or failed D-Day would have reshaped the post-war world. Nazi Germany might have retained control over large parts of Europe. The Cold War's boundaries and dynamics could have been vastly different, possibly with Soviet dominance extending further west. Democratic governments in Western Europe might have struggled to recover. Could the Allies have tried again? Despite a potential D-Day failure, it's unlikely the Allies would have given up. Other invasion plans existed, and alternative strategies such as increased bombing campaigns and support for resistance movements could have continued. However, the delay and increased casualties would have dramatically changed the war's timeline and cost. Conclusion. The crucial gamble that paid off. D-Day's success was not guaranteed. It was a monumental gamble, risking thousands of lives to strike a decisive blow against Nazi Germany. Its failure could have prolonged World War II, altered global geopolitics, and changed the course of history. The victory at Normandy opened the door for liberation and eventual peace. It stands as a testament to Allied courage, planning, and determination, reminding us how fragile and pivotal moments can shape the fate of the world. In the story of World War II, D-Day was the turning point. Had it failed, the world might look very different today.